There are a ton of amazing options out there in the film photography world, and today we're gonna be talking about the camera that I think a lot of people should be considering picking up, especially if you are new to film photography, and it's definitely not this one. It is the Kodak Ektar H35 compact point and shoot camera. I'll add as well that while I do get provided a lot of things for this channel, this is a camera I purchased with my own money, and so all of these thoughts are absolutely my own, as they always are, but you know, you get the bonus, I guess, of having even less of a potential bias because I spent my own money on this. Now, this camera does not have many specs. It doesn't have a lot of features. It doesn't have a lot of anything. It is a $50 point and shoot camera with a fixed lens, a fixed shutter speed, and the only real control you have outside of when you take a photo is the ability to turn on and off the flash, which you do by rotating this little ring right in front of the camera's lens here, and that's about it. Now, the reason why I think a lot of people should consider this camera these days is because A, it is relatively inexpensive in a time when everything film related is very expensive. And also, speaking of being inexpensive, it is a half frame camera, meaning that instead of taking a wide 3:2 aspect ratio, 36:24, this splits that in half and only shoots this much of an image, giving you basically twice as many exposures per roll, which again, in this economy is pretty sweet. And the thing about this camera is that you're not going to be shooting this for resolution or for, you know, an impressive image in that aspect. You're most likely going to be using this camera in a way that a point and shoot camera would be, or a disposable camera would be. And so this is basically the biggest and best upgrade to that whole disposable style camera thing out there. So here's why I think a lot of people should maybe pick this up. Now, an interesting thing about this is since you are shooting a half frame, so a normal 35mm frame is wide like this, and you're only getting this much of it, you are looking through a viewfinder of a camera that is landscape, and you are seeing the sides of it masked off, which only gives you a vertical kind of 4:3-ish aspect ratio, which is kind of a little bit of a weird thing to get used to. The way things just kind of work in this social media age these days, you're kind of just used to seeing things in a vertical kind of aspect ratio and stuff. And so another reason why this is just a brilliant camera for this day and age, at minimum, you're getting about 48 images if you are shooting a 24 exposure roll. And really, I've gotten up to 50 something, or you're getting up to almost 80 if you're shooting a regular 36 exposure roll, because you know, you're just getting double the amount in here. And since it's such a small camera and you're winding it yourself, usually you can sneak out a few extra frames. Now, the lens is a fixed 22mm, I believe. It is a fixed 22mm f9.5. So, you know, you're basically getting not a lot of stuff going on. And again, you're cropping into the middle of this. So it's definitely not a super wide. Also on the spec sheet, this is a 2-element optical grade acrylic lens. So basically you have 2 elements that are plastic. Your shutter speed is fixed at 1/100th of a second, which isn't bad. But I will say that since the camera is so small and lightweight, if you're not using the flash, I have definitely gotten some blurry images out of this because of motion blur, just because I'm holding a thing that has no real weight to it. And so if you're using this without the flash on something, make sure that as you take the photo, you kind of like take a deep breath and you deliberately take a photo, 2 hands, all that kind of stuff. Because again, you're not really going to be looking for heavy resolution out of this thing, but you still want to get something that isn't super blurry. Now, I will say one of the things that's a bit annoying about this camera is that you have the ability to turn the flash on and off, which is fantastic. It's a little bit sticky, which is fine. I would rather have it be sticky than not, I guess. But the only problem is that, yes, you do get this little light that tells you, when it's ready. But the problem with that then becomes, if you forget that this is on, it'll literally just drain the battery till it's done. So I've been at a wedding recently where I turned it on at the beginning of the day, left it on all day, and by the end of the night, the battery was dead, and I had to borrow a AAA battery from a videographer, which is a bonus about this. It does take AAA batteries, so you're not going to need to run to CVS or Walgreens or something and get some random battery for a watch or something stupid. It takes AAAs, so really easily accessible. It doesn't auto advance. You're doing that on your own, which is fine, just like a disposable. Now, I will say one of the weak points here is going to be the film rewind here. So you rewind this, which is fine. It's plastic and kind of janky. But to open up, well, not to open, but in opening this up, this is also kind of annoying. But when there's a roll in here, to get that roll out, you pop this little piece open, and then you have to pull this to basically bring this piece out. You can't push it in if there's already a roll in there. So the thing that I see happening with this, which would be a huge detriment, would be that if you pulled this very, very flimsy little lever off as you were trying to pull this out, you're pretty much just out of a camera at that point. So this thing weighs, I think, 100 grams. So very easily pocketable in a larger pocket, and obviously doesn't take up a lot of space or weight. So all that's good, fine, dandy, but the real kicker is going to be the image quality. So let's jump into some images, check them out, and then I'll give you my final thoughts. Let me know what you thought about those in the comments below. I personally think that this is a really cool option. It is at least as quality as a normal disposable camera. I think it's a little bit higher quality in some aspects. And just the fact that you get more than twice as many per roll, and it's just set up to be in that vertical aspect ratio as people will be most likely sharing on social media and stuff anyway. I think this is a great pickup. I think a lot of people, especially if you're just like gonna attend a wedding or you're gonna go on a trip or go to a concert or something like that, The times where you might consider bringing a point and shoot camera or a disposable camera, I think this is really the play. There's a few things that I wish it did better. I wish the lens was wider. I wish that it gave kind of like an auto offsetting, a few things. But in general, this is a fantastic little camera that I highly recommend. And honestly, if you are just considering jumping in to get some sort of film camera, you don't want to think about it, all that kind of stuff, and you want this look, it is a fantastic option that in a world of expensive things surrounding film these days, I think most people should pick up. So thanks so much for watching. I will put a few affiliate links to this camera in the description down below. If you're interested, obviously purchasing it through that will help me out and give me a few bucks. Subscribe if you aren't already, and let me know if you want to see more film photography content, as I know this channel has been a bit starved of that lately. So thanks so much again, and I will see you all on the next one.